How you all doing, guys? Brandon here from Retro Dodo. Thank you for checking out this video. It's much appreciated. It's not often I see a retro handheld come out of the UK, and it's good to see a local company trying to take on the Chinese retro handhelds that have somewhat taken over the scene. So this is the one we are looking at today. It is called the Evercade, and if you can tell by the packaging, this thing actually plays cartridges. Now, it's not the best handheld on the market, but I absolutely love it. And here's a look at it right here. Look at this thing, and you put the cartridges in the back. And for those of you that have noticed, this is a bit of a different video setup today because I have moved flat, which means I'm currently setting up this studio space. But I've got two cameras working, and you can see the packaging here. First of all, the packaging is really, really nice. And a load of you from our other retro handhelds are like, why are you moaning about the Chinese retro handheld packaging? Look at the RG350M. This is a $150 handheld. The packaging is, in my opinion, very, very poor. And then you've got this packaging in a $60, $70 handheld that looks the part. It looks legit. And this is what I want Chinese retro handheld packaging to look like. But again, let's move on. And this is the handheld you will be greeted with. This is the Evercade. It has a 4.3-inch display with a resolution of 480 by 272. So it's not the most high definition display out there. I would have liked to see a better resolution, but again, it's retro games, so you don't really want super high definition because you want it to keep that nostalgic pixelated look. Inside, it's got 2000 milliamp battery, which gives you up to 4 hours battery life. And the best thing about this handheld is the fact that you can collect cartridges. These things here are what the cartridges will look like if you pick them up online, and it is probably the reason why I love this handheld so much. I've just been missing the fact of being able to pick up games, and the great thing with this, right, is that it actually comes with a user manual that's colored. So when you've picked up a game, it comes between, so each cartridge comes with 6 to 20 games, and each cartridge comes in at $19.99, so 20 bucks. And in my opinion, isn't bad. I would have liked to see that towards the $15 price range, but hey, I can live with it. And the fact that I can go through and take a look in a manual and have the actual cartridge here. So this is what the cartridge looks like. We've got the Atari Collection here, a tiny incy wincy little cartridge. And they have about, like, I've got 4 here. So they've got the Atari Collection, the Namco Collection, the Data East Collection, the Interplay Collection, which is my favorite because this one actually plays Earthworm Jim. I've got a ton more over here. We've got Interplay Collection 2, which comes with Earthworm Jim 2, Technos, Megacat Studios, Pico Collection, Namco Collection 2, and the Atari Collection 2. So that is a fair wad of games for you to choose from, and I think they're coming out with 2 to 4 more this year. So if you do pick one up, there is a ton of games for you to collect, and you know, there's a couple more coming out should you want to. So let's take a look at how you play on the Evercade. Now, it wants me to insert a cartridge. I've turned it on. You can see the display here, but I want to take a look around the actual console in a minute. So you've got the D-pad here, and it's a very Mega Drive looking D-pad. Some of you may like it, some of you may not. You've got the A, B, X, Y buttons up here, which I am a fan of, but I'm just not a fan of the font on the inside. I wish they kept that, you know, embossed or something, or just blank. I would have preferred that. You've got the start, select, and menu buttons. The menu button allows you to go into some settings, which allows you to change the ratio of the screen, etc. If you come out of that by pressing exit, which is that, you've got your speakers down here. On the bottom, you've got a headphone jack, which is very nice that they've added the headphone jack to the bottom of the console. So many companies add it to the top, and it's just a bit annoying when you've got your headphones in and it's going like under your screen around, and it's just a bit annoying. So having it on the bottom was very nice. And you've also on the bottom here as well got your volume up and down and your micro USB for charging. On top, it's got some of the best triggers I've felt on a retro console. Like, these things feel great. They have a nice response, and it's got a nice little, you know, indent there, which is perfect for your fingers to fit. You've got your on and off button, and you've got your mini HDMI. So let's chuck in a cartridge. We've got the Atari Collection here, and one thing which I am a little disappointed about is that the cartridge doesn't do like a schlock sound like the old classic Game Boy did. It's actually quite tight, but they did inform me that their next production line will fix this problem. The cartridges will not be as tight. So when you put them in, hopefully you will get a schlock, but unfortunately this handheld that I have is, it's just super tight and it loses a bit of that nostalgic feel. I want the schlock, I want to be able to blow in the cartridge, and slide it out. And even when I'm sliding it out, after I'm done with it, it is very, very tight, and sometimes I find myself like dropping the actual handheld because it's that tough. Now, you can see here I'm about to turn it on, but the build quality, yes, it is made of plastic. One thing I'm not a fan of is, I don't know if you can see, the viewing angles on this handheld isn't the best. So if you look there, the display isn't the best either, but it does the job. It's very saturated. You get a nostalgic feel from it, but the viewing angles are quite poor. And it's got like this plastic display over it, and I would have much preferred a glass one, and I would have preferred metal buttons as well. This is a very personal touch that I would have liked, and obviously this would have increased the price. But in my personal opinion, if they added a glass display and metal buttons, I really feel that this could have been on my retro collection in the back there, because I think it would have added a really nice premium feel to the handheld. But unfortunately, the plastic display case on the front and the plastic buttons just pumps the score down a little bit in our opinion. But let's jump into the gameplay here. You can see this is the menu when you add in a cartridge. And you just go through the games, etc., and you can play. It's nice. The selection's good, menu's good, tells you the year, tells you the console, everything you need when playing a game. So let's show you some gameplay footage. Okay, and because I'm a bit of a freak, I actually like to play in full screen mode. So I just press A, that will switch it, come back out, bang, I'm in full screen mode. Cow launched. And as you can see, like frame rates, there's no screen tearing or anything. Like, the great thing with this is that the Evercade really does play really well. And to get out, you just press menu, come down to quit game, and you're back into the menu. Again, here's some Interplay Games. I'll show you this one here. Look at the colors on that. Ooh. And even though the speakers are located kind of under your fingers, they don't obstruct the actual the sound coming from it, so don't worry about that. Just the gameplay is just so smooth, and because they're not emulating anything, they've got the developers' rights to play and sell these games. They have the correct and best files you could possibly get hold of, so everything runs crispy smooth. So if you're looking for like perfect emulation on 80s, 90s games consoles from very popular developers, then the Evercade is something to look at for sure. Just look at the gameplay. Beats anything coming out of China, but admittedly, you've only got selection of 120 games at the moment, and some of you may argue that the selection isn't worth it as of yet. The Evercade is specifically aimed at those of you that don't want to buy emulator handhelds and want something that's extremely nostalgic. The team behind Evercade really want to bring back the physical forms of games. So the ability to collect these cartridges, being able to go around your friends and borrow his game, being able to go through the manual and look at the controls, and just the feeling of being able to wait for it to come. You remember the old days where you had to go to the shops to pick up a game? This is like ordering it, waiting for 3 days, doing a bit of research, and really going back to the old school days of playing on your old retro consoles. And the fact that the developers behind some of these games have got involved really does make you feel like you're actually helping the old developers of the old games by buying their games, and obviously a little bit of that money will go to them. All I want to see from Evercade is to possibly, up the quality of the handheld. It's just a lot of plastic, in my opinion. I would have liked to see metal buttons and a glass screen, and I really do think just the glass screen alone would have really upped the final product and the whole feel of the product. But it is well priced, coming in I think around about $60, $70, and you do get a couple of games, and at that price point it is quite cheap compared to those that you're buying over in China. But admittedly, this is targeting those that are in love with the 80s and 90s era of games, and the fact that you can put this on your display, collect the cartridges, is just a bunch of fun. And it's a good little handheld to give to a younger audience as well, perhaps a child or a younger family member. So overall, we're giving the Evercade a 7 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more retro handhelds, do please hit subscribe, as I have a ton more coming up. And if you want news, reviews and written content, head over to retrododo.com. As per usual, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.